Welcome to Mind Your Small Business, a brand new podcast from AXA which makes starting or running a business easier. This week, we sadly bring season 1 of this epic series to a close. It's a bit like the last day of school before the summer holidays. We're all a little bit demob happy, so let's go out in style. Today is a very special episode with two very special guests. I'm Gordon Rutherford from AXA, and 7 years ago, I had an idea. Small businesses are the lifeblood of the UK's economy. They stimulate growth, they provide opportunities for employment and development, and they serve communities. And small businesses are critically important to us at AXA. And I wanted to give something back, and I believed that we could make a difference by helping two people bring their great business idea to life. This year, finally, Startup Angel came into being, and today I'm delighted to be joined by our inaugural winners, Ben Elderkin-Shute, the founder of BOLDmen, and Nadu Placca, founder of the Association of Black Event Professionals. Good morning, Ben and Nadu.
Good morning, thank you.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Without further ado, let's begin by finding out a little bit more about your respective winning business ideas. So starting with you, Ben, please tell our listeners about the inspiration for BOLDmen.
Well, the inspiration for BOLDmen very much came from my own experience. I was in my mid-20s and I was starting to lose my hair. And I very much bought into the idea that was marketed to me that I needed to keep hold of my hair, or at least slow down the rate I was losing it, to sort of keep hold of any sort of confidence or sense of self. And it got to the beginning of the pandemic last year, and I actually took the decision to shave my head. And as soon as I did this, I became completely liberated by all of these things that I was led to believe. And it made me realise that actually just how damaging a lot of that marketing was. But then obviously now that I had shaved my head, I needed to look for products that were basically there to essentially care for my scalp, or things that I could use. And this is when I began looking, obviously, what was available on the market, and I couldn't find anything at all. So I thought, well, actually, if it's not out there, maybe I can make something myself. So that's basically where the idea was born.
Fantastic, and as amazing an idea, obviously. So thank you, Ben. And Nadu, what about your idea? Where did it come from?
I think similarly to Ben, although I'm not bored, it was from my own experiences. I've been in the event industry for about 14 years, and over that time, it's often been myself as the only Black event professional in the room. And I thought to myself, with everything that had happened over COVID, had a significant loss in business. There was a lot of eyes over the Black Lives Matter movements and the murder of George Floyd. And I was seeing that organisations were saying they were going to do a lot for the community, but there was no real tangible output of that. And so after doing some statistics, we produced a report that looked at racial disparity across UK event trade bodies and associations. And we realised there was 0% Black people. And from that, we were like, we should be asking for a seat at the table. And in the same respect, we decided, actually, we can build the table ourselves. So across my mission, and I was reaching out to different Black event professionals, I met Aaron Raby, who I believe you met before. Myself, Aaron, Nicole Wallace-White, and Eunice Obianaga, we all decided we're going to build our own table. And then the Association of Black Event Professionals was born. Amazing.
And I think both ideas are incredibly inspirational. And as one of the judges, it's one of the reasons why we chose both ideas, because they are inspirational and because they have such a capacity to make a difference for people, genuinely make a difference. And it's both ideas are something we are incredibly proud to be associated with. Thinking back to when you entered Startup Angel, Nadu, what inspired you? What made you actually complete an entry and go in for the competition?
If I'm brutally honest, the money. I've run a business before, so I understand what it takes in that initial uphill push, and it was just timing. It was as if this came across my inbox at the perfect moment. We just had the idea a couple of weeks before, and I didn't actually tell anyone that I applied. I saw it, I did my pitch video, and unfortunately I wasn't able to make your trick, fooling Ben and I both that, we still had to compete and win. And it was just, for me, the universe made it appear at the right time.
Excellent. And I mean, for those who don't know, who might be listening, each of our winners, as part of the prize, wins £25,000 to kind of get their business up and running over the first 12 months. And the reason for that is because the average UK startup spends almost 23,000 in the first year. So it's and not every business costs as much to start up. That's the average. But it does certainly give our winners a helping hand in those first 12 months. And Ben, why did you get involved in Startup Angel?
I mean, very similar to what Nadu said in regards to, obviously the funding was a huge part of it, but actually I'd had the idea for around about a year, and when I started looking into it and actually realising the costs or the cost implications of getting something like this going, and then obviously when the pandemic sort of came about, then it made me realise actually right now, financially I need to sort of be secure in myself. So any sort of idea like that was very much put on the back burner. And then actually when I saw this opportunity come up in my email inbox, I thought, well, that actually breaks down that barriers of all the things that I was worried about to get this off the ground. It really sort of enabled me to really bring it to life.
Excellent. And Nadu, coming back to you, you specifically mentioned the importance of the cash investment. How will winning the prize money actually help your business in those first 12 months?
Everything. I think it's really a stepping stone to be able to not have to think about where you're going to get the capital in order to, bring this idea to life. I think from having the experience of running businesses before, I definitely know that is something that takes up a lot of time, mental time, physical time, looking, for money, other grants, applications. It's just not there now. It's given me and this association the opportunity to eradicate that lengthy time process to be able to step into a market with some capital behind to go.
Excellent. And same question for you, Ben. How will the cash help you to get BOLDmen up and running and off the ground?
Well, I mean, the big thing really is the cosmetics industry in the UK, or I mean, worldwide for that matter. It's a very expensive industry to get into, and it's so heavily regulated. And as with most things that are heavily regulated, there comes a high cost. So the money will basically enable me to be able to work with a team of cosmetic chemists who own a lab and a manufacturing facility to actually take my idea and basically do all the science behind it, turn it into reality, get it tested, get it legal. It's been vital. It's been crucial.
Yeah, I can imagine. And as you say, the cosmetics industry is notoriously hard to break into without any kind of cash injection.
That's it.
One of the other benefits, of winning AXA Startup Angel, aside from the cash, is the access you get to some really phenomenally successful business people. And already in this podcast series, we've spoken to our angels, Holly Tucker, Raphael Sofaluk and Ina Henry from Bosch. Nadu, what are you hoping to get out of that particular opportunity?
Everything. Everything. I think within that stepping stone that I mentioned, just from the funds, it's also being able to stand on the shoulders of giants, so to speak. These people are coming from a great wealth of experience that I think both myself and Ben can benefit from in so many ways. And I think it's that exposure of being pushed out to their networks, rooms that maybe we wouldn't have access to, where our names and our business ideas can be mentioned. That is, for me, what is going to be able to propel us. The experience that they bring is also second to none. Knowing that we have the opportunity to connect and learn from their combined years, priceless.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And I hope, if anyone's listened to earlier episodes of the podcast and heard these guys who have been on as guests, I hope they've been suitably inspired. And really, it's difficult not to be inspired when they speak because, they're so human and so down to earth, but they have been so successful in launching their business. And Ben, I understand you've recently had your first mentoring session. So tell me, who was that with and how did it go?
Yeah, that's it. I had my first mentoring session around a couple of weeks ago now with Raphael. And it was really, really beneficial because this is all very much new to me. It's not something that I've ever done before. So knowing that I sort of had that support and guidance there, it's just been priceless. And we largely talked about sort of the social media aspect of it because I must admit, social media is not something I'm too savvy with. But obviously it's so crucial in the world of business today. So it's great to sort of have that conversation about how to build a social media sort of presence and how to grow that platform naturally and organically. And how to sort of create a relationship of trust with people that will be my future potential customers. So it was a really beneficial conversation, and it's just been great to have that sort of network as such to lean on to sort of bounce ideas off of, and just to make sure what I'm thinking is correct or maybe could be tweaked. So it's been great.
Oh, sure, and that's good. I think it is a massive benefit being able to get access to these guys. And you mentioned that you've never done this before, Ben. You're in a massive learning curve, and you are now officially a fully fledged business person, the founder of a company. And I mean, it's very early days, but how's the journey been so far for you?
Oh, it's been really exciting. I have to be honest and say that, yeah, I've definitely had moments of self-doubt where I've sort of woke up and thought, actually, how am I going to do this? Is this possible? Have I bitten off more than I can chew? But actually, it's just about constantly reminding myself that I don't need to know everything right now. It is a process. I will learn things along the way. But obviously, if I do put the work in, I'll get there. And it's been very motivating, actually, to see even the small steps that I've made in this initial process. It's been great to even look back even 6 or 8 weeks ago and see how I felt then or what I knew then to what I know now. So no, it's been a great learning experience.
No, that's cool. And everyone has that self-doubt. So, we've heard people throughout this series talking about that, and it's not something you should worry about at all. Now, turning to you, you mentioned you've run businesses before, so this is perhaps a little bit different. But how's your first couple of months been and as the founder of the Association of Black Event Professionals?
Yeah, co-founder. I think this is something that's definitely new because most of my ventures have been independent with myself. I have had some negative experiences with business partners before, but you just can't take that into new relationships. So it's new. It's helping me, grow in different ways. And similarly to Ben, having those moments of self-doubt. Have I taken on too much? Is this going to work? The answer is yes to all of it, but we still have to persevere. So I think it's a testament to me how I'm going to grow as my individual self and collectively as a community that, myself and the co-founders can also grow and then help more people that will be able to, take on our experience and have a community to support them.
Sure. And I mean, what would you say has been the biggest challenges you've faced so far, Nadu?
Oh, time. Locking down the time to really give this what it needs. I think initially, when you start with an idea and a concept, that's exactly what it is. And until you start getting into it and start fleshing out different ideas and, hit barriers and come back and look at different equations of how to navigate, you just don't know how it's going to go. And so I think, myself and the co-founders, we all run our own businesses or have, a lot happening in our own lives that sometimes we have to make sure that we put that time aside. So it's being able to structure that time and being able to make sure that we're all committed in the right way in order to push this forward in the right way long term. Because for me, this is a legacy program and I want to ensure that we get it right and we do it right. So, we're trying to alleviate our time and allow the community to make this work for themselves.
Excellent. And I mean, time is always a challenge in that, that balance, time is finite and you have to find time for yourself in between the work aspects as well. And that's something we've covered pretty extensively throughout this series. Coming to you, Ben, what in particular has challenged you most in these first couple of months?
The biggest challenge for me so far was actually trying to find a cosmetic manufacturer to work with. Because there's lots of these sort of facilities that offer this service, but they range from really small scale labs right the way through to large sort of industrial operations or manufacturers. And having never done this before, I knew that I wanted to essentially work with a company that I could sort of grow with and that could offer me that guidance and really sort of understand the brand and then create a product based on my brief. And obviously with that comes a lot of trust. So I needed to find a company that knew that I was serious, knew that this was something that I was going to do. And actually turn it into reality. So I do feel like I found that now. It did take quite a long time to sort of build that trust with the manufacturer. But I'm working with a company now based up in Chorley called Group 55, and they've just been fantastic in regards to taking the science behind my idea and making that into a tangible product.
No, that's really good. It's so important to find the right partner for things like this, and to go off to a fly on that basis. Mm-hmm. It has to be someone you trust that you can work with, and so it's good that you've found Group 55 and there's good synergy there.
Oh, definitely.
I think moving away from that, I think I'm right in saying you've already been interviewed in BBC Radio, Ben?
That's it, yeah. I had the interview yesterday afternoon.
Yes, nice. Is this new celebrity lifestyle suiting you?
No, it's been really enjoyable actually. Yeah, it's I've never recorded for a podcast before. I've never been interviewed on radio before. So no, it's all been exciting stuff, and I'm always glad to get involved.
You'll be getting stopped in the street soon and asked for selfies.
That's it. But what was actually really nice is after the radio interview went live, I had a few people sort of find the company on Facebook or message me on Instagram to say, "Oh, I've just heard you on the radio. Like, great idea." And it's just nice to sort of have that reassurance from other people that there are guys that understand what I'm trying to do and relate to it. So.
Excellent. And that's really cool. Really cool. Looking ahead and visualising the moment when it comes, Ben, what will business success look like to you?
Business success for me, well, I mean, I think it's two kind of major points. I'd love to see the product in high street stores and have a really strong online presence. But actually, another major sort of factor for success for me will actually be knowing that I've been able to put a product out there that can hopefully help guys who feel just as self-conscious as I did back then. Actually feel just as confident as I do now, because I mean, I really remember just how damaging a lot of that marketing was from these companies that offer products to try and help you keep hold of your hair or slow down the rate that you're losing it. And actually to be able to sort of fill a space where I can actively try to flip the narrative around men's hair loss, and sort of maybe hopefully be a spokesperson for actually taking ownership of your image, and not having to sort of worry about all of these insecurities. If I can have a product which can portray that message out there, I think that would just be that would feel like success.
No, and it's such a noble thing to kind of state as success for the business, because there's the media and advertising are responsible for so much self-doubt amongst people, with body shaming and things like that. And to see something like this emerge, to say, look, it's okay, certain things happen to certain people and that's okay, it's all right,
That's it.
I think it's fantastic. And Nadu, looking ahead for you and looking into the future, what will business success look like for you?
It's the same as Ben. It's that impact. What we're creating and what we're hoping to do with our ideas is really create that impact for a wider community. And that still stands for me as well.
Excellent. And again, such a noble thing. I know it's really early days for both of you. But what advice would you give to someone who's thinking about starting their own business, Ben?
It comes down to I think just having that self-belief and just that sort of that sort of willpower to actually just go ahead and do it. Because as I've already said, I have never done anything like this before. But now I'm actually in a position where I'm able to look back and think, actually, no, it does all make sense. You can do this, and with each little step you make, you get that little bit more confident with it, and that self-belief grows. So. I would just say to anyone, have a plan, execute it, and just believe in yourself.
Okay. And Nadu, you do have more experience in doing this kind of thing. What kind of advice could you give to our listeners, many of whom will be out there considering starting their own business? What would you say to them?
Just do it. It's funny because I've probably had 3 or 4 businesses that didn't get off the ground the way I wanted them to because of, a multitude of reasons, but it's just being able to pick up and continue. And there's going to be highs and there's going to be lows, and you're going to doubt yourself, and you're going to not have food on the table, and you're going to have surplus of food on the table. It's such a roller coaster experience being an entrepreneur, and I don't think people know what it really takes. It is days, it is nights, it is hours, it is months, it is years, but it is worth it because you're in control. You have an opportunity to grow yourself and just learn in different ways that, doing a 9-to-5 would never enable you to do. Take that first step. And I think, having AXA, and if there's other organizations and things out there that can support, just keep your eyes open and the universe will align the things that will be able to propel you forward.
That's great advice. I love that. And it's been one of the most amazing things about doing this series has been the little threads that keep coming through, and we speak to lots and lots of people who are running their own business, and when we ask them about advice they would give to people who are considering this, generally what they always say is, look, don't overthink it, just do it. Okay, do your research, do your homework, but don't put it off for years and years and years. Just go and do it. If you believe in it, make it happen. And that's something we find consistently in this series, so it's great to hear you both saying that. And Nadu, you mentioned AXA again and Startup Angel, and we're currently toying with the idea of running this again. It was this year really a one-off to see how it went and whether it was successful or not. We are currently toying with the idea of doing it again next year. Assuming we did, what advice would you give to anyone out there who is thinking of entering?
Enter. And you have to do it. Put it out there. I mean, my thing at the time when I saw it, and I knew I wasn't going to be in the country when, the final came through, and I was just like, oh, should I? Of course, you have to just try, because the worst thing that's going to happen if you don't try is that you're going to be in the same position. You're not going to learn anything. If you try and you're successful, then you move one step forward. So yeah, absolutely put an idea forward.
And Ben, are there any hints and tips that you would give to somebody around how to what to put in their submission? What makes a winning submission stand out from an also ran, for example?
A winning submission, I think it's that genuine sense of belief, and if you're able to sort of portray your idea in a way that's relatable to the judges or to other people out there. I think that's what you need to do. I mean, if you believe in it and you can convince others to believe in it, I think you're already off to a winning start.
No, I think that's good advice. And as one of the judges this year, I can honestly say that both of the winning ideas oozed passion, and both were intent on making a significant difference. And if I go back to what I spoke about at the top of this episode. One of the reasons for doing this for us is to make a difference, not only to one individual but also to communities and to the economy and things like that. So, if you've got an idea that can do that and can stimulate economic growth and well-being in a community, then don't be shy, put it forward, and let's hear it. That kind of rounds things up for today. The time has flown in. All that's left for me to say is to thank our Startup Angel winners, Ben Elderkin-Shute from BOLDmen and Nadu Placca from the Association of Black Event Professionals. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting to you both today. Firstly, Ben, it's early days, but I know you've got a social presence. How can people find out more about where you are in your journey and what you're up to?
Yeah, so if you'd like to find out more, you can visit www.boldmen.co.uk, which is BOLD, or you can also follow our story on Instagram, which is BOLDmen Limited, where I'll be basically talking about the story for this next year in regards to how I'm getting this business going, what the products will be, and also creating sort of like a body positive space for men experiencing hair loss.
Excellent, thank you. And Nadu, how can people find out more about the Association of Black Event Professionals?
Absolutely, thank you. www.theabep.org, or drop us an email at info@theabep.org.
Fantastic. Once again, thank you both.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent. If you've enjoyed this episode, you can subscribe to the series via your usual podcast app. And if you want to find out more about the Mind Your Small Business series, you can do so at www.axa.co.uk/podcast. You can also get loads of brilliant small business advice from AXA's Business Guardian Angel site, which is at www.axa.co.uk. And if you'd like to feature in next season's Mind Your Small Business podcasts, please drop us a line. We do want to hear from you. There's a link in the podcast page on the AXA website that I mentioned previously. All that's left to say, sadly, is there is no next week's episode to tell you about. There's no preview. You will all just have to wait until 2022 for your next Mind Your Small Business fix. Until then, I'd just like to say a couple of thank yous. Firstly, I'd like to thank Dave at Pacific Audio for making this sound so amazing and professional. I'd like to say a massive thanks to Alison Taylor, my colleague at AXA, who makes all this happen. I just turn up. I'd also like to give a massive thanks to all of our marvellous guests throughout this series, because after all, they are the content. And finally, I'd like to say a huge thanks to you, our listeners, for joining us. Whether you joined us for one episode or all 11, we really, really appreciate you lending us your ears. And if this has inspired just one person to go out and set up their own business, it will have made it all worthwhile. I've been Gordon Rutherford, you've been amazing, and I'll see you all next year.